The first Final Four we're going to analyze is Valencia and Real Madrid. This interesting clash between two Spanish teams that know each other really well. In 2026, these two teams faced each other 4 times and Real Madrid won all of them. But in my opinion, it would be not that wise to say that Real Madrid is certainly going to the final. But before giving my opinion, I want you, Tito, to give an overview of this interesting match.
Yes, it is very surprising for me that Valencia advanced to the Final Four. Actually, I didn't expect them to be in this spot right now. There were many commentators with included me that were in favor of Panathinaikos. Just a few, also some Italians. I have to say that were on the Valencia side. As you said before, Valencia have lost both of the games in Euroleague, while in LCB they are 1-1. So basically, this year Real Madrid overperformed Valencia. There are some interesting stats, which basically are that Real Madrid is a very obviously physical team. They are the first also for offensive rebound percentage this year, and they use also the best physicality to adjust the defense and to put some zone defense, especially the 2-3 zone used by Sergio Scariolo, and to attack with through the post to the post ups with players like Lyles, Hezonja, also sometimes KK. I've seen many others. On the other side, obviously Valencia, we have noted many times through the year and also in the series against Panathinaikos, they are a team which is very, very strict. They have very strict rules for their reboundings in defense and both offense. So another time the game will be built around the rebounding match. So I don't know if Valencia will feel the pressure of being there. They are just one of the only team that have not any Final Four experience, while obviously the other team, which is Real Madrid, obviously they have plenty of that with Sergio, Campazzo, and many others, Hezonja, Deck, about the two, these players which have shown their experience through the season. Another thing.
One thing that I want to add before letting you finish is the fact that obviously Real Madrid is without both Eddie Tavares and Alex Len, and Real is having big struggles in defending the paint since these two centers were injured. They signed the over 7, but they won't use it in this game. And Valencia is outstanding at generating extra possession via offensive rebounds. So the fact that Real will start with Garuba as their center and Lyles as the backup center is something that has to be noted, because I think that Valencia will have a lot of extra possessions, as I said, and a lot of extra shots, and that, in my opinion, will make a great difference.
Yes, as you said, Real Madrid is without centers. Your 7 was signed, but obviously can play just the playoffs of ACB and not in the EuroLeague. So I don't know if could help Real Madrid in some ways, or even not damaging them a lot. Also because Valencia do not have a center in the classical way we are usually used to see in the EuroLeague, except for Niall Sako. They have also Yankuba Siman, but that is not playing anymore in EuroLeague. So I think that maybe Valencia will start with Niall Sako as they usually do, but through the game he will be sidelined to the bench and he won't return. And they will use obviously Blastonki, Pradilla, and Rivers, and especially Costello, which is one of my favorite players, and in the game. And I think, as you said, the rebounding percentage will be one of the highlights thing to see in the match. Also, Pedro Martinez has shown, and the Valencia team, the GMs and the president of Valencia have shown through all the season a very high morality and also good things to see for the Euroleague system. And they have shown that even without very outstanding names, they could. It is possible to reach some important goals in the season. And I finish saying that the vote to the season is not given by if they reach the final four, the final in winning that, but through all the things that improved through the season. So they were saying they will arrive maybe 15th in the season, not even in the playoffs. Maybe if everything turns right, they are going to the play-ins, but they are right now at the final four, and they are not underdogs. They're not anymore the underdogs. I don't know if this thing is going to be a drawdown for them, or they are just going to play with no pressure at all. I don't know. But I'm really excited to see, and it is going to be maybe the most interesting game of the two.
Yeah, I agree, especially on the fact that the Valencia season won't depend on winning a single game or two games, because their project and the season that they had was completely unexpected, as you say, in a positive way. I want to add a couple of things on top of what you said. Like, I agree on the fact that Costello and Sacco, maybe more Sacco than Costello, won't play a lot of minutes, also because Real is without their centers. So I agree with the fact that most big man minutes will be divided between Rivers, Braxton Key, Pradilla, and without Cuerto, I also expect Omari Moro to be back into the rotation and back into the action. And as I said before, in the last podcast episode talking about Valencia, thinking about the fact that he barely played against Panathinaikos makes you think about how deep this roster is. And a couple of things that I want to add to the fact that Real Madrid is without centers is the fact that Real Madrid might want to switch a lot, because when you have Karuba as the center, this is pretty intuitive, but Valencia showed against Panathinaikos that switching against them is not really a good strategy, because they have a lot of counters. The main one is slipping the screens, and Braxton Key is particularly good at it. So, in my opinion, with Valencia that has these dynamic centers and great short rollers, the solution might be counterintuitively to play with soft coverages on pick and rolls, like drop, like ice and similar, but play with soft coverages like drop, like ice and similar. And that is the reason why Tavares, in my opinion, was so important in this game. He was the player with the highest minutes, points and rebounds in the last meeting between these two teams. And his impact is always beyond the trackable numbers of the box score for these reasons. But obviously, Valencia, if they want to win, they have to knock down the open threes, and that is something that didn't always happen against Panathinaikos, despite building some high quality threes in my opinion. And the other fact that I want to add is the fact that there are two players, in my opinion, who usually comes off Real Madrid's badge, who can be very important in this game. The first one is Feliz, and if I was Scariolo, I would think about starting him. to give Montero a tough defensive matchup. And this could be having Campazzo as a sixth man, but not necessarily. He might start instead of Abalde, or he might start with all these three players and with Okeke off the bench. And then the other player that I expect with a big impact on this game is Gabriel Deck, because against Valencia in the last Euroleague meeting, he was very solid, and with Trey Lyles moved to the first spot on the bench, he will be the backup of the power forward, and I think that he might be the X factor of this game.
As I've said before, there are two teams that are very deep in their rotations. There are no players that play more than 55 or 30 minutes in each of the two teams. So I don't know if it's going to be also in the Final Four, as we have seen Pedro Martinez chose to play more Badio and especially Montero in the playoffs series against Panathinaikos. But I think that it is a core strength of Valencia, so he won't be changing a lot since he has been very good through the season. And some other things that I want to highlight is that usually Real Madrid outperforms the opponents in the first two quarters. They are a really very good team, like first in the offensive rating, also very good in the defensive one, so very, very good. They always start better than the others, and they go very slow maybe in the last two. And on the contrary, Valencia is very good also in the first ones, but really slow in the second and third, so in the central quarters, and it goes up also in the last one. So they are very good in the first and the last quarter. So another thing, if it's going to be like very close in the final possessions, it might be that Valencia could have also a boost from this thing. On the contrary, obviously Real Madrid, they are more experienced and they are used to play these games. I have said the same thing also for Panathinaikos, and this thing didn't happen. I don't know if it is going to be like that. Obviously, I think that has to be said is that Valencia is a different team in this environment of Euroleague teams, which are built around experienced players, local players. Especially, I've said like Lucas for Panathinaikos or Yul, and Sergio Rodriguez for Real Madrid, Navarro when it was Barcelona. There were these kind of players that were linked to the team, but Valencia built around players which are not maybe homegrown, but they have felt the chemistry, and then that's a good thing also to change a little bit the style of playing and to intend the way to build the roster in Euroleague.
Yeah, you mentioned the two teams' rotations, and I think that Valencia might want to keep their rotation long, while Real Madrid would probably utilize, I think, 8 players, so the 5 starters and Lyles, Zach, and Feliz, because in my opinion, Yuri isn't the perfect fit for this game, because it will be probably a high-paced one, and I don't think that Kramer is going to play. I think it's in Valencia's interests to push the pace even more than what they do normally. And one last tactical thing that I want to add is the fact that Pedro Martinez will have to change something in the great defensive strategy that they adopted against Panathinaikos, because Campazzo is a completely different player from Kendrick Nunn. The Argentinian is a way better passer and decision maker in general. So keeping him off the scoring sheet might not be as effective as it was against Kendrick Nunn. And also double teaming the players in the post like they did with Hayes Davis. If they do it with Hezonja and also Lyles, they can kick the ball out to some of the best shooters in the league, like Abalde, Okeke, Feliz. You know, Real Madrid is shooting 38% from behind the arc this season, which is the third best statistic in Euroleague. So it might not be the best decision, but I trust Coach Martinez, and he will find the right tactical move, in my opinion. But I'm a big fan of Valencia. I was very confident that they would have got through the series against Panathinaikos, and I'm also confident that they will win at this semi-final. And in my opinion, they are going to the final.